G'day Will, just doing my video check-in for this week. So training's been pretty good this week. I always enjoy the first week of a new block. It's got some interest to me. It's new things, new style. It's always good. Change is as good as a holiday, and that's about as close to a holiday as I'm going to get this year. So training was pretty good. Unfortunately, Monday I woke up. I'd had a really bad sleep. I also had probably too much to drink the night before, so I was in like a bit of a mess, and I sort of overshot my RPs a little bit. Setting this block up, I think I'd gone to an RPE calculator or an RPE table and sort of based things probably off numbers that I hit at the end of the last cycle, which is probably not the best idea because I found that I overshot my starting RPEs on basically everything. Except for today, because today I realized that was happening, and so I adjusted it. So I think my set at 6 I then repeated to be my set at 7 because the first set was probably a little bit too heavy, which I think you had flagged was going to happen in your video check-in last week. Squats, competition squat, the first set was rough, but I sort of got the groove of it during that set, and I think the other sets were better. Bench was okay. It felt a little heavy, but in the end I think managed to stay pretty tight. I didn't have any form breakdown. It was just tough. And deadlifts today were pretty good. It was a bit of a different system because it was 1 at 6 and then 2 at 7 as opposed to a 6, 7 and 8. But I think again form was pretty good. I filmed the first set, the set at 6. I don't know why, but for some reason going in I thought that it was 1 heavy set and then 2 back-offs, but that's not the case at all. So I had filmed the first set thinking it was the heaviest one. But the others were fine too, so I didn't have much of an issue with that. I'll put up a video now of all 3 of those sets and let me know what you think. So I was focusing on trying to sort of stay over mid-foot, and I don't think I did a great job of it, but maybe better than some efforts. I've got a little bit of heel lift, and I'm also trying not to completely collapse into the hole and just sort of find where that actual parallel or just past parallel is. A little bit variable. Sometimes I'm hitting it better than others, but yeah, let me know your thoughts. Bench, as I said, was fine. Pauses are maybe a little bit short, but I'm happy with how tight I'm managing to stay. And then these were today's deadlifts. Again, trying to keep my arms long, trying to push my butt through without arching my back, trying not to kick the bar forward at the start of the rep, which is a terrible habit I sometimes have. But yeah, I thought these ones were all right. One thing I do want to discuss is the touch and go deadlifts. Last block we had some touch and go off low blocks, and I found this week doing them off the floor, that last little couple of inches of motion, I was starting to get like a little bit of almost looseness in my lower back. I was sort of worried that I was going to do myself an injury. It's probably unfounded fear because I have injured my back doing touch and go deadlifts in the past. I don't know if it's something that you definitely want me to keep as a touch and go for the constant tension reasons. And if so, let me know, and I'll just maybe take some of the weight off and make sure that I stay in better control. I think it was maybe just the first week in not knowing exactly where the bottom was, or being worried about where the bottom was, and then if I hit too hard, you get that bounce and all of a sudden you're trying to almost catch it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. So onto your bigger questions. It's been a weird year. So I think I reached out to you in March and then everything got shut down. And I had, I think it was about a month or 6 weeks of pissing about and jogging, doing sprints and playing soccer in the park instead of training, until I got some weights set up and did them in a garage. And then finally in June when they opened the gyms again. Got to actually train properly again for a little bit. I guess things that I have enjoyed this year, things that I'm proud of this year. My bench, I was quite happy with the technical improvements I made on my bench, especially being able to stay tighter throughout the rep, not resting the bar on my chest and heaving it off as I used to do. And it was good when I did testing at the end of the last cycle that I was able to equal my best ever bench, which I set when I was probably 10 kilos heavier, maybe 5 kilos heavier. But anyway, I sort of view that as, a good result. I was quite happy with the bench. Squat, while I might not have been stoked with the end numbers I put up, I think that again there has been a lot of technical improvement in my squat mechanics. Things like the ability to stay tighter throughout the rep. Bracing definitely has gotten better, and I think that with training and with hard work, I'll be able to get back to those older numbers. And similarly with deadlift. Deadlift, I'm not far from where I had previously been. I think that, testing all on the one day on a Friday when I was quite tired didn't really help me out there. But I think in the future, if you sort of took deadlift in isolation and let me taper and focus on just that lift, I think I would be a lot closer to some of my old numbers. So in the end, it's really only squat that's lagging behind, and I've got to sort of keep in mind that I'm comparing things to, 3 years ago and, where I was 10 kilos heavier too. So there is always going to be a bit of a downside to losing weight in terms of overall strength numbers, at least in the short term, and also with getting older. I'm a master's lifter now, I guess. Which I guess leads me to goals for next year. I think I've decided that I do want to compete again. It's been a long while out. I had a 12-month ban during that, but hopefully Powerlifting Australia will let me back in and let me have another crack at competing. I think I've missed that element of it, or having a goal to train for, and I miss the day. I'm not putting up great numbers. I'm winning medals if there's no one else in my weight class, sort of thing. And I don't really care. It's more about the day and meeting people and having fun and, having the one big testing day and all the adrenaline. I quite enjoy competition day, so I miss it, and I would like to have another crack at it in 21. And that is completely at odds with my other goal, which is to really get on top of my weight and probably lose the 5 kilos that I'm above where we started before COVID, and then get back to that first goal of losing the 5 kilos I was planning to lose from the beginning. I'd like to get my weight down under 110 and, if possible, further down to 105, between 100 and 105. It's a tricky weight. I've gotten down to that weight a couple of times, but I've never been able to maintain it down at that level. I always sort of spring back up to around 120 if left to natural causes. So I guess that's my wrap up of the year, the good and the bad, and what I'm looking forward to next year. As I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to train 2 days a week for the next 2 weeks and then see how I go from there. I'm going to focus mainly on the main lifts, at least hitting the main version of each lift during those 2 days, which means I might have to sort of squat and bench on the same day and then deadlift the next day. And then I'll cherry pick the most important accessories and get those done and do as much as I can. So yeah, hopefully that's it. If I don't speak to you before, have a good Christmas, and I will see you later. Thanks.